Hey, it's Lauren Andrews here from Dominion Lending Center's Expert Financial, optimalfinance.ca. So, did you hear the news? BC is introducing some legislation that's going to impose a cooling off period in real estate. So, basically, what it would be if you purchase a home, you have 7 days to change your mind. So if this sounds familiar, when you're actually purchasing new build condos and whatnot, there's automatically for new homes, there is a cooling off period. There's a time that you have to actually back out of that particular deal. So I've been looking through the internet and I've been hearing all these, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, bad for sellers, good for buyers. And at the end of the day, one of the things I saw is, it could put the sellers at risk. So, and then the other argument is whether it would actually help the chaotic market of where prices are and pricing is right now for homes. So let me give you my 2 cents, whatever that's worth. It might just be worth 2 cents, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to tell you from my perspective, from a lending perspective. Will this help housing prices? I say hell no. No, I absolutely do not believe it's actually going to have an impact, because really it's that demand, that pent-up demand that is relative to the supply in the market, right? Is really what it is. And that's not changing. From last I heard, it was like 480,000 plus new immigrants coming into Canada, a lot going to go to the major areas, that there's already a housing shortage. So that drive and that demand for housing is continuing to increase, right? That's not changing. The only thing that I think is really going to fix it is if we fix that supply chain, work on how quickly, developments and everything else can get underway and get shovels in the ground and start increasing that supply. That's really what's going to make the difference here. But let me tell you how it will make a difference, especially in the environment that's been created by this shortage of supply and the demand that's here. So I see these offers coming in. I'm dealing with first-time home buyers. I'm dealing with other buyers that their financing is no issues. They can go in unconditional and everything else. So I get it, right? So I see all angles, right? Now, let me put it this way. As a first-time home buyer, okay, many times you don't have a full 20% down payment. You have a lender that's going to do an approval, but then you also have the insurer, CMHC, Segan, or Canada Guarantee. Okay, there has to be approved by them as well. They never do pre-approvals. Okay, so you could have a approval from a lender, then it gets to the insurer, and the insurer says, sorry, we'll pass on this one. We don't like this property, or there might be issues with status or other things, and they're going to pass on it. So anyway, so you got your first-time home buyers less than 20%, and they have to make it conditional on financing. They have to protect themselves, because likelihood 95% chance, 98% chance, there's going to be no issues when it comes to that conditional period, making sure the financing is secure. But there's always that 2% chance. And what happens if they go in unconditionally and that 2% chance kicks in and they cannot get the financing at the home? And let's say they only have 10% down. What happens then is all the conditions are waived. They can't get out of it because of financing. They're forced to try and get financing, or they're going to have to pay some type of maybe compensation to the seller. And at the end of the day, if they do get the financing, it's usually scrambling at the last minute, and there's usually a private lender charging something like 16 or 18% lending interest rate, plus lending fees and everything else is very, very costly to that buyer, just because of that particular situation. Okay, so picture like this. So what if there was a cooling off period? What would that mean? Okay, would that mean that the first-time home buyer is now actually on a level playing field as that cash buyer? Okay, and we know it as sellers. If we get 2 offers in front of us, and I have family number 1, their offer is $2,000 higher than family number 2, but family number 1 has a condition on finance. Sellers are saying, I'll take the $2,000 less with no conditions, because that's a bird in the hand. That is a firm sale, so they think. Okay. Now, if there was a 7-day condition cooling off period, Wouldn't matter. All parties have 7 days to sort their stuff out to make sure that they are ready to close on that particular property. Okay. Here's what's happening that I'm seeing is that the first-time home buyers, people are desperate to get into homes because of the fact that there is a shortage in what's out there. So they are taking a chance. They're going to waive those conditions. And then what's happening, all of a sudden stuff gets thrown in my lap because I wasn't with them right from the beginning, and I'm trying to help them get some secondary financing and get those homes closed so they don't get sued by the sellers, right? Or be at a potential loss situation, to have to compensate for the losses for that seller, which is basically really the same thing. So what does this mean? As a seller, I'm thinking, would I want to find out within 10 days or 7 days of an offer being accepted whether or not that deal is going to close or not? Or would I want to find out 7 days before it's supposed to close and I'm supposed to be moving to my other home and et cetera, that all of a sudden there's a problem that this deal might close, but it might not close. So by putting in this up front, by giving people that opportunity to make sure, everything is secure, you have 7 days to do it. And whether it's the status review, whether it's the financing, whatever it is, that's enough time. That's fantastic. I believe it protects the sellers, it protects the buyers, it puts the first-time home buyers on that level playing field. Because again, if I'm that cash buyer and I'm offering less, me as that first-time home buyer, I'm not getting into that home because I have to put a condition on finance to protect myself. So to me, it makes sense. Interested to find out your thoughts, what you think if Ontario should do the same thing, put in a cooling off period even for resale homes. Love to get your thoughts, your perspective. Please comment, and love to hear it. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find more information at optimalfinance.ca.